Okay, we have a rational function, and we want to know on what intervals f of x is greater than 0. Now recall that f of x is just another name for y. So if we want to know where y is greater than 0, we just want to know the points where the y values are positive. Now, y is equal to 0 on the x-axis, right? This is all the points where the y is equal to 0. So the y values will be positive above the x-axis, and the y values will be negative below the x-axis. So let's find the x values where points on the graph are above the x-axis. That would be these points. These are all above the x-axis, and starting here and continuing on to the right. So those are the points on the graph that have a y value that's above the x-axis, which would be a positive y value. So now let's find what are the x's that correspond to those. Now the x values for those are the x's directly below those points. So that would be all of these going right up until you get to x equal 1. There are no points there since there's a vertical asymptote there. So those x's would be everything from negative infinity up until 1, not including the 1. Okay, now the ones to the right would be starting here, but not including that, since that's a point where the y is actually equal to 0, since it's on the x-axis. And everything over here has a y value that's above the x-axis. So those would be x values from 2, don't include the 2 since that's where the y is actually equal to 0, all the way to infinity. Okay, so these are the set of points where the f of x is greater than 0, or above the x-axis. Now let's look at the points where the f of x is less than 0, meaning they're below the x-axis. The points on the graph that are below the x-axis would be these. Okay, now find the corresponding x values for those. Now take those points and go straight up to the x-axis, and that would be all the points, not including here since there's actually a vertical asymptote there, but everything over to that x-intercept. So those would be the x values from positive 1 to positive 2. Don't include the 1 since that's where there's a vertical asymptote, and don't include the 2 since that's where the x-intercept would be. So the f of x would be less than 0 on the interval from 1 to 2.